to introduce this phenomenal lady here. Right now, I was going to go down like a whole list of what she went through over this month, but usually she's good for quizzing us. So I'm not going to do that. Okay. She might just give, I don't want to take that away, but I will just say this. I'm going to just give a couple of quotes, some mic drops through the week that she's given us. Okay. Just through the week. Okay. The one, here's one. The first one is set a goal. She showed a a Facebook reel, set a goal so high that only you and God know about it. Big motion. Wow. That was whoa for me. Okay. That and set my goals a little higher. Okay. Second week, believe in yourself. Who celebrates themselves, right? Be your word. Whoa. Whoa. Now, if that didn't put a slap in the face, be who you say you're going to be. Be your word. Okay. Third week, if you don't care what they think, they think, prospectors, people you're prospecting, customers, your partner, if you don't care what they think, where is the room to grow? It's something to ponder. Okay. And lastly on here, art or science? Art, right? Art changes and seasons end, but they don't last forever. Okay. So I'm very grateful for her just sharing her perspectives, her strengths, her actions, what she gives to us, and giving us some great tools also as we run to our next position and watching her run to her next position. Anyone that gets a chance to work with her, I'm telling you, you have a phenomenal leader on your hand. I love her energy, what she gives, and we get a glimpse of just her journey as the footsteps of a leader. That's how I look at it, the footsteps of a leader. So as she continues to blaze this trail, and once again, just being beautifully human before us, transparent, giving her highs and lows, I'm very, very grateful for you. You can put your hands together for Miss Roxann Corralejo.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for that introduction. And thank you for going over my months. I do like to do that just to remind everybody, because as I plan these out, what I try to talk about, I try to make a transition. And I know a lot of speakers do that from the first week to the last week, because there's stepping stones that we get to reach at. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you for taking over this call and everything. Yo, they're going out to Mexico. I'm like, can I come with? And Mr. Thomas is like, you got a call to do. And I was like, darn it, next time. But I love the leadership we have here, how everybody steps up, how everybody can fill in. And that is exactly what we do here in ACN. And we should be doing every day in our lives. If you think about it, are you stepping in and stepping up for other people that might not be able to show up for whatever reason? Because life happens, things change. And as we make these commitments, it's always great to be able to have someone to lean on. Are you that person for others? And who is that for you? That actually took some development. That's not what I wanted to talk about today, but that took some development for me, actually growing through this ACM process in realizing and knowing that I can count on other people. My shortcoming for me was someone that had to do everything myself, because no one's going to do it right. I can never rely on everyone. If they don't show up, my feelings get really, really hurt, and I had to let go. And this whole month has been, the different topics has been talking about growth in different areas that we need to grow in. So just to recap again, because I do want to highlight a couple things that we've talked about so far. One of them is confidence. So again, I want to go over the definition that I liked so much of confidence, the feeling of self-assurance from one's appreciation of one's own ability and qualities. Well, we talked about how confidence takes time to build. It really does. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes some time. And what Mr. Trolley always mentions, that I say all the time, or that he says all the time, is what we lack in confidence, we have to make up for, or what we lack in talent, we have to make up for in effort. And that's where that confidence comes in, because sometimes not all of us are super talented at everything. I know some people, man, doesn't matter what they pick up, they're so stinking good at it. And in a way, I'm excited for them, but in a way, I'm like, dang, I wish that was me. So for me, I have had people say certain things like that in education and growing up. Everyone said, oh my gosh, Roxann, you're so smart. You get good grades. You always know the answer. Well, for me, it wasn't the fact that I was smart. It was the fact that I worked harder than everybody. In everything that I do and I excel at, it's because I put in so much effort to critique that skill or whatever it is. So, growing up, I grew up in a family. I was the first to go to college, I was the first to graduate. But when my sisters had that idea, because I went, my sisters had that idea they wanted to go to college, and family would say, "Oh, you're not as smart as Roxann." And I would say, "Bull. You better shut your mouth. Don't you dare tell my sisters that. Don't anybody tell you that you can't accomplish anything, because it's more than just talent. Like I mentioned, it's also effort." So myself, all throughout high school, all throughout college, I studied hard. I had tutors. I was in the library till 1 a.m. And those are things we talk about here in ACN and other leaders had brought up, is what you do in private, people will celebrate you for in public. They don't see all the effort that you put in, everything that you're doing to get you to where you are. People weren't seeing that. So they were just saying, "Oh, Roxann, you're so smart. I can't do it because you're smarter than me." And I said, "Absolutely not. The only reason why you can't do it is because I work harder than you." My nose was in the book until I passed out in books. And that was kind of a regular occurrence for me. That was growing up. Well, I put in that same work ethic as I did in my education here in ACN, here into building my traditional business before ACN. That's what builds your confidence. Because you know what? If you lack it in talent sometimes, and you overcome that in your effort, you have the same results as someone else. I still pulled off an A. Yeah, I had to work harder to get it, but guess where my confidence level was? Once I got that A, I'm like, heck yeah, I did it. So sometimes here in ACN, we have to work harder than other people. I see some people that put on a presentation with 20 people and they get 20 reps. And I'm like, what in the world? I have to have 5 of those 20 people meetings to get 20 reps. You know what I'm saying? Anyone like me have to work twice as hard, and that's okay. I'm okay with it, because the second week we talked about commitment, because I want to be true to my word. I want to honor those commitments that I make to myself. So this is how that flows into your commitment. Are you being non-negotiable about your commitments? That is huge. And I can promise you a lot of us aren't. I'm not all the time. How many of you say, "Oh, I'll be there at 8 o'clock and show up at 8:15, 8:30 sometimes"? Don't you lie to me. I know it's more than just me. Absolutely. There's a hand. Robert, the only one that wants to be honest with me. Way to go. It happens. None of us stay true to our commitments on a regular basis. How many of us set our alarm clock for whatever time, 6 o'clock, and then you snooze it till 6:30? It goes out. There we go. Now people are starting to be more honest. And you snooze and you snooze and you snooze and you say, "Okay, I'll get up at 6 now. I'm really going to get up at 6:30." Well, one thing that Mr. Tejada actually mentioned yesterday, I thought this was genius idea, is that we are just so comfortable at not honoring our commitments that it's just okay. Like, I'll do it later. I'll hit that goal tomorrow. When we set these goals, it's okay to not accomplish them. And it's really not, because you're not being true to yourself. Just like we mentioned, be true to your word to yourself as well. So what Mr. Tejada proposed was, hey, why not make 10 commitments a day? Set 10 easy commitments so you get used to the idea of making sure you hit these commitments. The first one is, hey, I'm setting my alarm for 7 a.m. I'm not hitting snooze. Make a commitment every day to not hit snooze. It's gonna suck. Oh yeah, when I first stopped hitting snooze, that sucked. I was the biggest snoozer, and I could snooze for at least a half an hour to an hour. I will not hit that snooze button anymore. It does not happen for me, because I got used to it. So set 10 commitments. Don't hit that snooze button. Make your bed every day. I am notorious for not making my bed every day. When I made that commitment, I said, I'm going to make it. And I'm running out the door and I'm running late. And I'm like, I have to throw down all my stuff and make my bed real quickly. Honor those commitments that you're making, no matter how small, because it'll start getting you into that mindset and that thinking. So now when you set that goal to hit your next promotion, I'm going to have 100 points by the end of the month, you are going to feel horrible that you're going to work 10 times harder to hit that goal. And that's why we make these goals, not to just set them like, maybe I'll hit them. We set them because we want to hit them. So get yourself in that mindset of always honoring your commitments, because no matter what, yeah, I'm running late, but I'll throw my stuff down and make my bed because that's a goal that I set that I had to have. Okay, let me just throw everything down. Let me make my bed. Being on time is another one. When I say I'm running late, it's because that means I'm not early. Because I used to be notorious for being late as well. You see these things on social media. Someone says, hey, if you had $1 million to invite someone somewhere and they're going to show up late, who would you invite? That is horrible that someone has that label on them, but that was me. If anyone said, oh, Roxann's going to be late, don't worry, you don't have to wait for her. That is not happening in this day. When I say I'm running late, that means I'm getting close to being on time, and that freaks me out. That actually builds up some anxiety because now I've instilled in me and had that mindset of always being on time. So that was our commitment conversation. So next we talked about, oh yes, being an art, ACN being an art form. Of course, we always have to take notes. That was another commitment I made to myself because I can't keep track of things all the time. I go off on little tangents. But we talked about how ACN being an art form, meaning we have to pivot, we have to change. Just as art changes and what people like and their music and everything changes, ACN is the same way. Business is the same way. That's why so many businesses go out of business sometimes. It's because they don't pivot. They don't make that change. What is the big change we had to do with ACN? The most massive one was switching over to Zoom. That happened overnight, y'all. We went from ACN had so much momentum. I remember January 2020, I was like, oh my gosh, it was the most amount of reps I got in 1 week than I ever had in my entire ACN career. I was so excited. We were doing BOMs, we were doing home meetings. It was amazing. And then COVID hit. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, this is how I built my entire business. Now, what am I supposed to do? And instantly we all switched to Zoom. But you know what? Now, I can't say we all did. I will say some of us did, not all of us. Those people that didn't switch to Zoom, what happened? Their ACN business died. And some of those people I see coming back, which is awesome. They just couldn't handle that season in the middle, which we transitioned to, but their business crashed. And now they're joining a season where now it's a hybrid season. Now we're doing Zooms for people that can't make in-person meetings, but in-person meetings for people that can. And those people that are coming back for this season are loving it. They're like, wait a minute, I don't know why I gave up on Zoom, because they were scared to make that transition when that season changed. So there's always going to be season changes. My move here to Lubbock, y'all, that was a season change for me. I didn't have anything going on anymore in San Antonio. I didn't know what was going on with that marketplace, but I saw an opportunity in a market in electricity. I did not have any electricity customers before I moved to Lubbock. I don't know if any of you guys knew that. San Antonio is not a deregulated marketplace. So I not only moved into an area where they're deregulating electricity, I had to become an expert. After, what was it, at that point, like 5 years in ACN and not being an expert in electricity and having to overnight become an expert because I didn't have anybody to lean on. There wasn't anybody here. There wasn't anybody putting on the information. I had to learn everything from scratch. I had to go to the LP&L websites. Are you doing that in your business? As we're changing seasons, are you becoming the expert and learning the season we're in? Or are you waiting for these calls? Are you waiting for people to tell you what to do next, where the next move is going to be? The reason why we had such great success here is because I didn't wait for anybody. I heard on a Zoom call, someone said, oh, I'm making phone calls to all the real estate offices. And I said, why? Drive out there, fly out there, be there. I didn't wait for anybody. So ACN is an art form. Are you prepared for those changes? So today I want to talk about ACN is the same for everyone. When we talk about the company, what a phenomenal company we have. It is a phenomenal company. These co-founders have stuck with us throughout the whole time. They've invested into ACN. You haven't had to. I haven't had to. They put all that investment into the company itself, so much that we've acquired other companies, adopted other teams because their company was not succeeding. Their company, for whatever reason, was going out of business. It just wasn't growing, whatever it is. The co-founders said, okay, we'll take you and teach you what we do. So the co-founders put all that investment into the company. We don't have to. And then we have the services. Well, those individual companies invest into the services, they make it better, they improve their customer service, they provide all these promos for us. So if everything's the same, what's the difference in the success someone is having versus someone else? I've seen someone and watched someone within the past 12 months hit regional vice president in 12 months, which is phenomenal. I've been in this business for 6.5 years and I'm still a regional director. What is the difference? The difference is they have spent so much more time than I have investing in themselves. This was an eye opener for me. The difference is you, how you invest in you, how you show up for you, how you show up for your people. But how you do that is shown in how you invest in yourself. So, what are you doing to invest in yourself? Are you growing personally? Are you growing professionally? How are you doing these things? Are you spending 30 minutes a day in personal development? Are you reading? Are you listening to speakers? Yes. Are you taking notes? Are you implementing what you're listening to out in public? These are things that people say, hey, Roxann, I listen and hear these people all the time. Great. It goes in one ear, out the other, because are you putting this stuff into work? Are you honoring your commitments? Are you putting in more work ethic? Are you doing these things that you weren't doing before? Are you listening? When you re-listen to these conversations, do you show up differently? If you show up as that same person, that's proof right there that there's no growth. No growth is happening. And what's important and why is it important to invest in yourself? So I've talked about this a while ago. So the first transition for me in investing in myself, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to take the plunge and I'm going to hire a coach. And I've talked to that to you guys before in a different conversation. That was hard for me, is to hire a business coach to tell me where I'm lacking and to take that with some sort of like, all right, I'm accepting it and I'm going to grow with it. And that's hard too, is when someone is telling us where we're lacking, we want to fight back. Well, you don't know my people. Oh, it's hard because they did this. And it's not taking that responsibility, it's becoming the victim. It's saying, oh, well, you don't know this, or this person said this, that person said this, they don't get it. No, it's that we aren't creating that value. So I had to hire a coach to get me in that right mindset. I spent $5,000 the first time hiring a coach for him to go through this process. But the process also was personal. It wasn't really working in a work atmosphere, but that's where it transitioned to. So that personal development, personal growth I had to go through came from, and a lot of stuff that I do comes from when I'm younger. All the stuff that I went through when I was younger, things I was told, stuff that happened growing up, I then grew up with certain traits that I take into my professional world. So now that I had that behind me and I said, this is phenomenal. Why wasn't I doing this from the beginning? Because people are scared to invest in themselves. They really are. One, for what they might come up with. Two, most of the time it costs money. These ACN events we go to, we're talking about investing in you, investing in your business. That's what these ACN events are. And at one point, I skipped a few. 100% honest, always. I skipped a few because I said, you know what? My business isn't growing. I don't have any team members going. I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to be there because it provides no value for me. It's an extra expense. Why am I going to spend the money on a hotel, on a flight, do all these things just to hang out with people? Like, it's just not for me. But then once I had that mind shift to saying the reason why those events did nothing for me is because I showed up as the same person time and time and time again. And I started showing up differently. I said, you know what, I've heard this a thousand times, but let me listen to it again. Let me listen to it differently. Let my mind be open. Let me take notes. Let me take notes in a different way. Let me take notes like I am going to be on that stage presenting tomorrow and I need to know all the right things to say. And that's when things started shifting for me. That's when I started investing in myself and my growth, because now I'm not trying to absorb this information. I'm trying to give it out to other people. You guys see that difference? Is when you're teaching someone, you have to come at it in a different mindset. Mr. Tejada actually asked Senior Vice President Jeff Weber yesterday, which I thought was super cool. Out of nowhere, Mr. Weber was not expecting this when I was on a call with him, but he asked him, he said, hey, what's your favorite part of the business? And you guys take a second to think about that. Your favorite part of ACN. What is your absolute favorite part? Did anybody say electricity? Did anybody say internet? Cell phones? They're great. They're great vehicles. They're great resources. But what Mr. Weber said, he said it's that personal development aspect. And this is what I was thinking. When he asked him that question, I thought about the answer myself. I wasn't waiting to hear what he had to say. I wanted to know what my answer was going to be. And it's developing other people. There are 8 billion people on this planet. Why is it that I do ACN? Is because it gives me an opportunity to reach a portion of that 8 billion people to make a positive impact. However that is in someone's life. If I can get 1, 2, 3 people to dream again, that is huge. And it's that personal development in other people, developing other people, helping them grow, helping them reach their goals. I am going to share, instead of sharing my screen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a text that I got last week. And I did share this on social media. So if you guys are my friends, you've seen it. But someone had sent me a text message that says, thank you for your kind words. And all I did was edify her. It's what we do. And it came from the heart too. That's one of the things, is our edification has to be genuine and from the heart. I love this girl to death, a rep I've been working with since October. She said, thank you for your kind words today. I feel like most days you are retrieving my crown from the floor, putting it back on my head and telling me I got this. How amazing did that make me feel at that specific moment? And I will say that that is not who I am, that person that she's describing there. That's not who I am, but it's who I've become. So I hope you guys are listening that. I would not receive I'm always genuine and honest and try to be kind even before ACN, but I didn't know how. We're not taught how to do these things, but we are here. We're taught in these personal development, growth, personal development classes on how to effectively lift other people up. And that is huge. That meant so much to me. And I'm like, man, she doesn't realize how much that message meant to me. But then I also don't realize how my kind words mean to her. So it's not who you show up to, who you're being today, but who can you grow into tomorrow? Who are you? How are you absorbing this information? Are you investing in you in a certain way that every single day you are a better person? I work every single day to be better. How can I help someone more? How can I be more effective in my day-to-day? So I bring this up because we have events that are coming up. I want to bring that up. Inventing Greatness is something that's put on. It's not an ACN event. Other people fall into this. And that's not this slide here. This is the second thing I'm going to talk about. But Inventing Greatness is something that's put on by a lot of the leaders in ACN and other leaders outside of ACN, but other professions. So I started this going a few weeks ago. I went out to California for this Inventing Greatness event. And what this event is it's a personal development course. Some people came in with the wrong mindset. Oh, I'm going to take this course and I'm going to walk out making $1 million. That's not going to be the case. You have to come in with the right mindset, and it's to help you grow, and it's to help you become non-negotiable with your growth. And I've only been to a couple days, and I'm promoting this. Why? Because just a couple days that I've been to, and the rest of it's happening right before this Road to SVP event. But it's going to transition so much of what I do in my business and how I grow that it's going to tenfold it. So I told you that first time I hired that coach, my business doubled overnight. Not just my business, but just money, income wise doubled. I felt like I had hit a wall, and I'm like, there's no way I can make any more money. This is ridiculous. I doubled that overnight in income. And I had a friend tell me, she goes, oh no, it wasn't even that. It was because you had this stuff come up. It's because it was a look that this stuff come up. And I said, no, because if it would have come up prior to me investing in myself, who said I would have been open to it? Who said I even would have attracted such an opportunity? Because I'm a different person than I was before I took those classes. Same thing here. So if you write down, or someone can put it in the chat, inventinggreatness.com, you can take a look at it. And it's something that I know is very difficult because it's happening in like a week. It's next week. But if you can do everything you can to do this, you guys, and message me if you're interested. I think it's like a $1,300 training right now. It's a there we go. Thank you so much. A $1,300 training that they are doing for $100. That is less than what I paid to take the course, you guys. $100 right now promotion to get into this. And like I mentioned, other professions are plugging into this. So it's not an ACN event, but it's a personal growth and development event. Guess what? If other professions are plugging in, it's a chance to peak other people. That's what I was thinking too. We had some really good solar sales rep guys, and I'm like, hey, I think they're gonna like ACN. So that's what's great about doing things that are outside of ACN too, to build yourself personally. But this slide that I have up now, Road to SVP, the reason why I have this up too is because this is another event that's taking place. And again, it starts next weekend. So it's not convenient whatsoever. And I'm asking you to be completely unreasonable and inconvenient, because these type of moves is what's really going to grow and magnify your business. But this is something that's put on, and I don't want to talk about the events too much, but let's talk about the people that are going to be at this event. So we're talking about Senior Vice President, trainers, Mike Basuti, Jeff Weber, Efren Tejada, Al Levato, all Senior Vice Presidents. And then we have Chanel and Aaron Burke, oh my gosh, that are going to be there training on stage. Jocelyn Driscoll, Carrie Roeder, Dean Trolley, regional vice presidents that are plugging in to train. But it's not like they're going to be on stage and just talking at you. This type of event is role-playing event. If you've ever been to a South Lake Tahoe event, this is South Lake Tahoe like tenfold, South Lake Tahoe on crack. Really, because we're going to be role-playing with each other. We're going to be putting stuff into action. After attending stuff like this, you come out of this so much more confident, so much more able to stick to your commitments. Everything we've talked about this week, being open to those transitions and those pivots when seasons change. That's what these events are here for. They're here to develop you and grow you. Because if you can't develop and grow you, guess what? You can't grow and develop other people. We are a people multiplying business. We have to grow and develop phenomenal people. We don't go out there and find amazing leaders. There are people that are amazing leaders, but they haven't been able to reach their full potential. If you feel stuck in one place, you need to, I'm going to see what Trish says here. I didn't get to see that. You need inventing greatness. Oh my gosh. It's road the number 2 SVP for that road to SVP training. If someone can put that in the chat, I would greatly appreciate it. But the reason why Trish had made that comment is because she started inventing greatness with me. We did this together. So this is someone who's customer qualified, and it drives me crazy when she says, I'm just customer qualified. I was like, no, girl, you're putting in those moves to be executive team leader, to be regional coordinator. But she's customer qualified, sitting next to a regional director, regional vice president, and senior vice presidents that are taking this course too. We had Efren Tejada, Jocelyn Driscoll that were doing these same exercises, and we're getting the same growth and the same development. We did 2 days of this event. It's a 5-day event. We did 2 days of this event. The person that Miss Trish showed up to day 1 is a completely different person after day 2, so much so that she went home and her daughter looked at her and said, who are you? You're a completely different person. And her daughter was at church last Sunday, and I had a conversation with her, and I said, so you said your mom's a different person? She's like, yeah, this confidence, this is something that's exuding from her. And I was like, I freaking love it. So you guys, this is why it's so important to invest in yourself. Why we see that slide every training at every event, but are you guys truly absorbing the importance of investing in yourself? Because not only does it translate to what we do in business, our ACN business in our lives, but it translates to our family. Our family sees it. This is her daughter, who's a new mother for the first time, that sees something change in her mother, so much so that she actually had, oh my gosh, that day at church, she had, I don't know, like 7 or 8 people with her at church. I'm like, girl, you're a recruiter. You didn't know it, but you had 8 friends at church with you. You recruited them to church. So what you pour into yourself, other people will see, and naturally through osmosis grow through you. So who do you want to see grow in your life? Invite them to these events. They're going to be amazing. Yes, all these. And then what's so great too, you bring other reps and people with you. I'm bringing family with me, not even to attend the event, but just to be around the environment, these SVPs, these RVPs, just to hang out with them so they can absorb it. And then they're going to ask them the questions, because my family doesn't believe in what I'm doing, but they're going to ask them, oh, what is this about again? So let the leaders go to work for you. And then that's when you have 3, 4, 5 people with you at an event like Palm Desert at Road to SVP. It's in Palm Desert, California. And those 5 people catch the vision. They're developing themselves as well. They have 5 people in Orlando. Now, your business went from maybe just a handful of guests at the last Cleveland event, or maybe no guests at the last Cleveland event. And now if you have 5 people in Palm Desert who invite 5 people to Orlando, now we have 25 people in Orlando, from 0 or 5 to 25. That is a huge jump in just a couple months. Because why? Because you're investing in yourself. You got to think about yourself first. Think about how you can improve yourself before you can improve and develop other people. And I love the fact that that was what Jeff Weber said, because that's exactly my feeling. What's my favorite part of ACN? This is it. It's pouring into all of you what I've had pouring into me. So thank you guys so much. I know we went a little bit over time. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate your patience. And I hope to see you in Palm Desert. I hope to see you growing and investing in yourself. I'm going to hand it back to you, Harrison. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.